I've always told my boys I know I'm done a lot of things that weren't great, right, as a dad. We all do. There's
Mhm.
things I've done well, things that I haven't done well, and I've always asked them to, like, take the things that I did well and do them better. The things that I didn't do well, change up, improve upon it, do something
Right,
different, right?
right,
If it didn't work for you and I'm sorry if that I, may have caused grief to you in some way. I
right.
never an intention of mine, but be better than I was.
Thanks for joining us here today. The dash is between born and when you die. There's a dash right there. A lot happens in that one tiny dash, and we intended for just a fraction of that with our guest Bob today on My Dash Story. Thanks for taking the time for being here today, Bob. I appreciate that.
Of course, anything.
Okay. Born in Chicago, Illinois in 1966, went to high school though in Texas, where he graduated and on the Air Force, where he met his wife of 39 years. He has three grown sons, six grandkids, an avid recent golfer, and your position of work now is a manager of operations. But let's get right to the embarrassing issue out of the way first. And I'm
Okay.
sorry, I don't want to bring it up much,
It
but
is.
you are a Bears, Cubs, and a Bulls fan.
Not not Bulls as much.
Okay, but
Bears
the
and
other two
Cubs.
is worse enough.
Yeah, Bears and Cubs. Probably should have been a Bulls fan. I
Yeah.
I I abandoned them when we moved to I became an Orlando Magic fan when we lived in
Wow.
Orlando,
Okay.
that's when Shaq was there, so you wanna talk about a fun time.
Yeah,
That was a lot of fun.
that was a lot of
We
fun.
enjoyed that,
And
yes.
you met him before.
I did not, I walked past him many a time. I've watched him drive down the road in Orlando. He was very, very social in the
Yeah.
community. You would see him and
When you walked past him, was there like an eclipse
he was
going through?
massive.
Because
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
Larry
because
Bird too. I walked right past Larry
you
Bird.
did not.
I did so.
That is so awesome.
Yes,
I do like Larry Bird. But
yes,
we'll go back to the embarrassing part. Bears and Cubs.
yes, yeah. So growing up in Chicago,
Yeah,
Walter Payton on the Bears was always my, you know,
got
just
it.
he was the greatest as far as I was concerned. I haven't
Right,
seen another running back like him. Although there have been many that have been great running backs,
right,
I always just Walter Payton was my favorite.
right.
And then the Cubs, just going to Wrigley Field as a kid, getting to sit in box seats. We had friends that had season tickets, box seats, 6 rows behind the Cubs dugout.
Oh,
Yeah, and you'd walk in awe every time as a kid, but
right,
not realizing then, looking back, how amazing that really was to be able to do that
right.
as a
Of
kid.
course. And but you're not a White Sox fan at all.
We would go to White Sox games. I never followed them like I did the Cubs.
Yeah. And you still are still of a Bears and a Cubs fan now.
I am. So I'm maybe not intense of a an intense fan. I've got a buddy here in town that we've gone to 4 Bears games together, traveling. A couple to Chicago, one to
Mhm.
Kansas City. We went to the Cowboys Bears this past year or last 2 years ago. It was yeah, it's a lot of fun. We enjoy doing that
So
from
you're
time to
used
time.
to what we call disappointment.
A lot of it,
A lot of
yes,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Only like in
There's
20-year spurts.
there's after that.
Yeah, nothing.
So there is a little hope in it. I like that about you. A little
Yeah,
hope eternal. I like that.
absolutely.
So you were born in Chicago.
Born in Chicago.
Yes. And what was that like growing up in Chicago?
It was I had a great childhood. I really enjoyed it. Grew up in the city for just a few years, moved out to the suburbs, met some friends and had just solid friendships as a kid
Yeah.
with just a small group of us, 3 or 4, two that were really tight friends, and just I missed that friendship ended when we moved to Dallas and
Right.
when I moved to Dallas in
Right.
high school.
As things do. But when did you move to Dallas?
When I was a sophomore in high
Sophomore
school.
in high school. Okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Chicago in the Windy City and it was cold,
It was cold.
but did you have I mean, I know you had friends, but did you play sports?
We did baseball, basketball, football year round,
Yeah.
one after the other, from the time I was in third or fourth grade until uh, probably 12 years old, just before going into high school.
Okay.
That's when high school sports start to take over. And the community type sports end for
Right.
the most part
But you
back then.
played little league
Absolutely,
baseball,
Little League baseball.
YMCA basketball, and that kind of stuff.
The basketball was a community basketball
Okay.
league,
So you had
so
like a little rec center.
yeah, had a very nice rec center actually where we
Oh,
lived. It was
yeah.
a kind of a state of the art back in the day. It had that rubberized floor. It was
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
one of the first
Synthetic.
ones with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It was kind of it was this huge dome type setup. They just put this. It's like this. I don't know what kind of material it was, like a tarp type material, but it was just massive, and they
Hmm.
covered it with that and kept it warm and cool, summer or winter,
Oh,
depending.
nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it
So
was
did you
cool.
guys live in the same house all the time in Chicago, or?
Two different homes in Chicago when I was there. So again, first started out in the city. I remember as a gosh, I was probably 3 or 4. Just remember vague parts of the apartment that we lived in when I was a little boy. Then moved out to the suburbs when I was 4 or 5, and in one home, that home got broken into, and mom and dad got they just didn't feel comfortable anymore. So we bought another house in a neighboring community and lived there from like 73 time frame or 74 until 80 early 80s when I came to
When you moved,
Dallas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you have brother and sisters?
I did. I have one brother who's deceased, and I have a sister. I'm the oldest of the three of us.
And
So
were they born in Chicago area,
they were
or?
not.
Oh,
Actually, my sister was. I
okay,
apologize. My sister was. My brother was born in Texas
okay,
after we moved here.
all right, gotcha. And what was that like? Well, of course you weren't with your brother then. Did you have any big adventures or something with your sister there?
Unfortunately, no. So I think that's probably one of my biggest regrets as a just in that part of life is that we didn't have a strong relationship.
Right.
With my sister. There's about a 6 year difference between she and I, and then my brother was like a 16 year difference. So I was out of the house on my way going to the military, and he was only 2 years old. So we really never didn't know each other
Oh, okay, yeah, it was just
very well.
passing, kind of a passing
Yeah,
thing, yeah.
yeah, that was disappointing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you had lots of friends. You played games. Did you play games, or just like constantly? Did you have like a park or something near you that you would?
Yeah, well, this is back in the 70s, riding your bikes around as kids was the thing, right? So we'd get up in the morning, tell mom we're leaving, and she'd like be back before dark,
Right.
and we'd be on our bikes and going all over town and playing it. There was football fields, the public pool. We'd go there, from on occasion. We'd just go out to there was a big group of baseball fields. We'd go out there and sometimes do things we shouldn't, like take golf balls and aluminum bats and watch them sail out of the hit
Right.
home runs with them, that
Right.
kind of thing. But we had fun, had a
Yeah.
good
I
time.
mean, but that's
That's
you.
kid stuff,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
that wasn't bad at all. But you had bicycles and that kind of stuff, and
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah. And I think that was a great period of life when it was just fun to have, your gang you hang out
yeah,
with,
oh,
and you learned a lot. You learned how to be a boy,
yeah,
which I don't necessarily know if kids nowadays get as much opportunities to do that as we did, or maybe they do. Maybe I was looking at nostalgic like that
right.
kind of area.
We'd get into situations and you learn how to work through it, right?
Get out of situations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. You either got to get out of it or run or deal with it or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So it was like, yeah,
True.
yeah.
And you went to what was school like in that?
Yeah, elementary school was really cool. My first elementary school was the house that I told you about got broken into, and then we moved. But that was my kindergarten through third grade school. And I walked to school. It felt like it was a 5 mile walk. It was probably a block and a half, right? But I hated the cold, so in the winter I would cry all the way walking to school. So it was one of those that you just at 5 years old it's like, okay, go to school and then come home on your own, right? And you're just walking as a little kid, and
Right.
all was cool. It wasn't
Yeah.
a big deal,
You
right?
didn't really think anything
You
about it.
didn't,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I'd walk to school and then come home, and I remember there was one time I had a secret whistle I would do with my dad. So as I'd get by our fence, we lived on a corner lot, I'd do my little secret whistle, and he'd hear me and he'd open the door and wave at me, kind of, he'd be
Oh, that's
watching
so
for me,
cool.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So it was that special
Do you
thing
still
that
remember the whistle?
I can't do it now. I can't.
Okay.
It would be embarrassing.
You
Yeah.
get no, seriously. You can't do it, or you don't remember
I,
it.
I remember it. I ain't gonna do it.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay. Was there a class or a subject that opened your eyes in those days that you really? I mean,
Yeah.
even in high school, that
Uh,
there was a class or subject that you went, you know what?
I wouldn't say class, but I remember there were a couple of teachers that I really respected a lot, and one was an English class, and I really respected that teacher, and just I don't know. I think it was kind of a growing year. It was I believe it was my senior year, And I just really enjoyed that class. It was a lot of reading, which I'm not an avid reader, but I was motivated to do it. I enjoyed the class. I respected her, and so that was enjoyable. And in high school now, I don't want to say I was on the basketball team. I participated on the bench on the basketball team, right? Just I wanted to do something. I enjoyed basketball, wanted to be around and be a part of things. So I sat the bench on the basketball team. So, that's what
We
it
don't
was.
do what we got to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What was the best part of school though, or the toughest part then?
Um, Best part was probably just being engaged with friends and people. The worst part was, I think, the fact that I left Chicago as a sophomore and then moved to an entirely new state as a sophomore in high school where I didn't grow up with anybody.
Right.
So having to just re-engage and learn how to. I had friends. I didn't have to necessarily learn how to make friends in when I was in Chicago because I had my friends, and then things just kind of happened, right? Organically happened, and new friends came in, came out, that kind of thing. Here, I was like all alone, knew nobody. So it's like, how do you make new friends when you're, 15 years old or 16 years old, right?
And not only new like a new school, but a whole new state
It's
that
a
was,
new culture too.
yeah, because it's far north.
Yeah,
Chicago to
yeah.
Texas is
It
a
was
different world,
huge difference.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you're the oldest,
Yep,
and so now you're in school here.
yep,
And what was that like? First of all, what you nervous about coming to Texas? Excited about it, or you like
yeah.
I don't know?
I was excited about it, but now that I look back, I see some of the things about I was not I don't know about nervous, but I would maybe seclude myself and kind of just listen to music to cope for a moment while you're trying to figure this out,
Right,
right? Because you don't know anybody.
right.
And
Eight
I
tracks,
remember what's that?
8 tracks.
No, it was just radio and cassettes.
Okay.
But Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, I Love Rock and Roll for whatever reason, was a huge song that I would hear it, and then Journey came out with in the early 80s, right? And the Escape album, and so that was like another one you kind of
Right,
just leaned on or whatever.
right.
So that was fun
Did you
to
ever
do.
go to any concerts
Not
growing up?
as a kid. I
No,
did not.
not at all.
I did not go to concerts as a kid.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
But you love music,
I do.
I
I do
guess,
love
and
music a lot.
still love it, or
I do.
yeah.
I like a variety of music. Yeah. Now as an adult, been to several concerts. But yeah, never did as a kid.
Oh
So
wow, that's kind of cool. Yeah, music has a way of intertwining in our life,
it
doesn't
does.
it?
Yeah.
And there's certain songs where you could just close your eyes and go, I can know exactly where I'm at right now.
Yep.
Like the night Chicago died by Paper Lace.
Yep.
The night Chicago, 21st Memorial. I could see me driving by listening to that song going, this is going to be a hit, which I don't know why I thought so, but because it was on AM radio, it had to be a hit.
Yep.
But anyway, there's certain songs, smells, taste, and something like that,
Sure.
brings back a whole youth. I always liked that about
The
that.
song you mentioned, the minute you said it, brought me right back to I would stay at my grandmother's house, and she was close to the downtown area. Yeah, and we lived in the suburbs. My parents both worked nights, and so they would after school, we'd get in the car, drive downtown area. My mom would drop me off with my grandma. I'd sleep there, and then my dad would pick me up about 3 in the morning, take me back out to the suburbs, and I'd get back up and go to school the next day. But I remember um, that song, "The Night Chicago Died," and I'm sitting in her like right now. The minute you said it, I'm sitting in her living room. She had an attic apartment, so it was a 3-story building. She had the attic apartment on this building,
Yeah.
and it was across from a school. We used to play in the school, cement lot that was out there, and play in the alley behind the apartment. But it brought me right back to the minute you said that, and how music does that, right? Brings you right back to that
Amazing.
point.
That's a good.
Yeah,
Daddy was a cop.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
he's a cop.
exactly.
Yeah, that's good. So okay, wait. You were woke up
Mhm.
and taken to your grandmother's house where you slept till
Nope. After school,
okay
taking my grandmother's house.
after school, your parents would work,
Yep, they both work downtown and the third shift,
right?
basically.
And
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
your dad, because your
Yep.
mom's probably still working, your dad would pick you up
Yep.
and wake you up.
Yep. And bring me back home. Yeah.
How long does that last?
That went on for several years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we did that for several
And you
years.
slept you slept
I
good?
I don't I that's probably why I'm so short. I don't think I grew. I needed rest, and I didn't
Instead of
get
your
any.
gross, yeah.
Yeah.
It was all on them, yes.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that one song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 o'clock in the morning though. So now they would bring you home. So what did your dad do?
My dad worked for UPS at the time.
Okay.
And my mom was a waitress at a restaurant,
Mhm.
and it was a late type night.
Late,
It would stay
late
open
time
late.
diner. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
she's
UPS was just beginning.
so I when UPS started probably in the 50s or 60s, maybe. And dad worked there in the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
And then left there.
Did he work? Was he a driver or
He
was he?
was he started as a driver, a tractor trailer driver, and
Right.
then he went into management after
Okay.
that.
So tractor driver. So he delivered stuff to the main, and then some other drivers would drop it off at the
Yeah,
house.
exactly. Yeah, he would just connect with other tractor trailers,
Right.
drop his load, pick up their load.
Right.
They bring them back and forth to their
Oh wow,
destinations. Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah,
And your mom worked it. Okay.
yep. Mom worked
So
at a pizzeria restaurant downtown.
so what about so you would go to school and they would sleep probably?
They would sleep while I was at school.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'd come home and, like I said, do my secret whistle to dad. He'd be waiting for me, and yeah, that kind of thing.
Still
So
not gonna give it up yet.
I'm not going to give it up
Yeah,
yet.
we're hoping for it. We're hoping for it. Okay. So you moved to Texas when you first arrived, and why Texas?
Mom and dad, this was early 80s. Up in the north was a struggling time. Jobs were, they had some job transition stuff going on. And they just said, you know what, let's go somewhere where Dallas was kind of an up and coming. It was, the economy was much better here. They came here and with nothing and just started.
What was the time period about this time?
That was 81 time
81.
frame,
So
81.
80s. So
Yeah.
oil boom and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't smart enough to know what was going on. I was just like, all right, I'll get in the moving van and we're going,
Right,
right?
right.
So
Here we
yeah,
go. And
yeah,
you haul later on,
yep,
you arrive in Dallas,
yep, yep.
and here we are.
Here we
Now
are.
what I
We
gotta do?
we lived in mm, in fact, it's still there over on I-30, a Motel 6 for a couple of weeks while they were looking for a place to live and all of that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy town for a little bit.
Yeah, I
So
bet so. Oh wow. Okay, so how did your parents tell me about your parents? How did they meet?
yeah, um, mom and dad met. My mom was as a she was uh, a waitress. That was kind of her life
Right,
was waitressing a
right,
lot. That's what she did. Dad drove for the city of Chicago Transit, a bus. He was a bus driver at the time, and he stopped in at this place where she was working. I believe the place she was working was owned by her mom and father at the time. They'd owned the diner, if I'm not mistaken. That some of the history is not really clear for me.
right.
But she was working there, and he would go in there for coffee, and she'd give him a free sandwich or something like that, right? That's all it took. Then the next thing you know, I come along and
Sandwich, here you are.
here you are. Go from
Nobody Jimmy
sandwich to
John's.
me.
Yeah, Jimmy John's, you get 2 for 1.
Yeah.
No, you get a kid. That's great.
Exactly.
Yeah. So okay, so
Yep.
they met.
They met, got married very young. My mom was, in fact, probably 16, 17. She had me when she was 17.
Okay.
So
Excellent.
dad was 20. There was a 7-year difference maybe between them.
Yeah.
Dad was 23.
Okay.
So 16, 23. Yeah. I don't even know if it was legal or not, to be honest with you back
Wait, what
then.
state you're in?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So that's old hat,
Exactly.
but there, yeah.
And I always have a battle with them too. They were married on September 15th. My mom says in 1965. I was born on September 14th in 1966. I'm okay to give the
Right.
dates or
But
whatever.
you were doing the countdown.
Yeah, and I'm like, so are you sure I didn't come along and then you got married? It was really September 15th of 66
Right.
that you were married.
Right.
And they insist, no, we were married a year before that. And I was like, all
Have you
right.
ever
So
seen a marriage
I,
license?
I don't remember seeing it. So
See,
it's been hidden from me. I think.
it's been hidden, disclosed in
Yeah.
a secret location.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So they met because my mom was I was born when she was 17 as well.
Really?
Believe it or not, in the state of Oklahoma, which how that goes. But okay, so they met. Um, they started dating, then they finally got married, and
They
then
probably didn't date long, I don't think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's just quite how the story goes.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, story they dated for a long time.
Yeah.
So they're Chicago, which is where your mom is from, that area.
She was from Peoria, actually,
Okay.
but they were
Okay.
living in Chicago at
And
the
your
time.
dad's family is from.
Arkansas. Yeah.
Okay, now you're throwing a wrench in the whole
I
thing.
know. I know. Most of his family's from Arkansas. After he was in the military, after the military, he went up to Chicago.
What
to work.
branch in the
He was in the Air Force.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So now they have met, and how did your parents are still alive?
My father's passed.
Father's
He
passed.
passed 4 5 years ago.
Okay.
5 years ago now,
Yeah.
and my mom is still alive. Yes.
Mom's still alive. So yeah. I would imagine because who were you closer to, your mom or your dad?
Probably close to both of them,
Both
but
of them.
had probably um uh, maybe just a more connected relationship with my dad, sports and all of that. He
Secret
enjoyed.
recipe.
He would coach all the things and the secret whistle,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, he would coach our all the teams or many of the teams I was on. Always there, for games and that kind of thing, whether he was coaching or not. So yeah, and I remember as a little kid driving. He had uh, a Chevy Corvair, and he'd let me shift it and stuff like that. And instead of saying that we were buddies, pals, and friends, I would say buddy, Frau, and pens. And when I was a little kid, are we buddy, Frau, and pens?
Yeah.
And he'd be like, yeah, we're buddies, Frau, and pens.
That's
So
pretty cool.
yeah,
I like that. Oh, how is the world different now than was it? Do you? I mean, I know there's a lot of, but how would you think the world is different now? If you're looking at, say, like your grandkids' eyes,
yeah,
and you were that age, how would the world be different now?
yeah. So like I said, the with my buddies, we'd get on our bikes and be gone all day,
Right.
out of sight of any parent or anybody that had any concern about us. Right,
Right.
we were just gone doing
Right.
whatever. Now, man, the kids. It's just like you don't want them out of your sight. You fear a little bit of that. Kids aren't really out riding bikes. Well, I get a really big kick out of seeing bikes laying in the front yard because that was like our house. It would always have the bikes all laying out there. When we'd stop in to get a Kool-Aid or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And you just don't see that anymore with
Yeah.
kids out riding their bikes together and doing things out.
Right.
I think that's different. We didn't have all the video games, obviously. I had one friend that had an Atari, and so that was really cool. We did that for a while. I was never great at video games, and so when we'd go to 7-Eleven and play games, I'd always watch them because they were really good.
Yeah.
And they'd play for a while. I'd get a Slurpee, and we'd all, just enjoy the
Slurpee,
time.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and how did we even communicate? Because we didn't have
We didn't have
cell
cell
phones.
phones. Yeah, no,
How do we
I
communicate?
don't remember how mom even knew what was going on, or if we ever
Yeah.
had any issues, or what we did. To
And
be
how did your
honest,
friends know that we were supposed to meet up at?
I mean, we did, right? We
Yeah,
found each
but
other.
we, somehow that happened,
Yeah,
and we were probably not, but we felt safer. At least
I,
it felt that way to
yeah,
me now
yeah,
than it was now. I wouldn't, my grandkids. Let's keep an eye on where they're at all
exactly,
times, kind of thing.
exactly.
Yeah. So you graduated. Okay. So now you're in high school in Texas, and you're getting to. And was that awkward moment for you? I mean, okay, did you finally get accepted, like about your junior senior year? Because you know what,
Yeah,
they're finally starting to go. Oh, this guy isn't that bad.
yeah, finally with the basketball team, made some acquaintances there,
Hmm.
and was able to be engaged in things, right? And that was good, and I appreciated that. Had a good friend afterwards that we went into the Air Force together. On what they call the buddy system, right?
Right.
I don't know if that was their way of getting extra recruits or something. I don't.
Right.
I got nothing out of the buddy system, and neither did he. So I don't know what that meant. But we went into basic training together.
Right.
In
And why'd you choose Air Force?
because dad was in, and I was just, college was an option for me, but I didn't have the passion to go to college,
Right.
and chose not to, and chose the Air Force instead.
Right.
And really enjoyed
Yeah.
that adventure.
And where automatically you join, where do you go from
Yeah.
there?
So my basic training for all of the Air Force is down in San Antonio,
Okay.
in Lackland Air Force Base. So we went down there, basic training. During basic training, the guy I went into the Air Force with was in my what they call a flight. So we were there together. And then a few weeks in, next thing I know, he's gone. And I didn't know what happened. Come to find out, 30 years later that, yeah, he was pulled for a special program they were doing. His test scores showed something about he had this capability to do this, and so he was on this some kind of special deal thing that he did. Yeah, I didn't understand it all, and all I knew he's gone, and we weren't able to communicate after that. I had no clue where he was. There were no cell phones, didn't have the Facebooks and all that
Right.
kind of stuff. Right, so I don't know what happened.
So it's for the buddy system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's
I mean,
separate
it's
these
3 weeks,
guys,
you're
right?
gone.
Yeah,
You're out of there.
yeah,
So what was that like? You leaving home and being in the Air
yeah.
Force?
No big deal.
Were you looking forward to it, or was it something you
Yeah,
got used to right
yeah.
away?
I was.
Or were you good at it?
I don't know that I was good at it. I did it, and all was fine.
I mean,
But
there's people though that uh,
I didn't get in and have any problems. I just they was
Right.
just
There's some people
go
that
do it.
feel like, hey, this is actually kind of orderly. It's kind of nice. I
Yeah,
kind of understand where my meals are at, where I'm supposed to do and what I'm wearing. It's
yeah,
just easy.
yeah. It was not a problem for
Right.
me, right?
So
Yeah,
how long did basic last?
it was only
6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then now where?
Was it 6 weeks? Yeah, I think it was only 6 weeks. Yeah, and then I went to Shepherd Air Force Base for my technical training. That's in Wichita Falls, Texas,
Okay.
and I was there for 6 weeks as well. And then I went to
What kind
my.
of training?
It was for medical supply.
Okay.
It was my technical school.
All right.
So, and then I was assigned to March Air Force Base in California,
How's it
which
go?
is
Just
was that Southern California,
okay.
just about 60 miles east of LA.
Okay.
So
Yeah. And so now you're there in California, which is a whole different
that
state.
was a whole different. Yeah, I drove from Dallas, where I was, to
Yeah.
California
What'd you drive?
by myself as a 16-year-old
Nice.
or
What'd you,
17-year-old.
you're 17 years old.
Oh,
You're in the Air Force. What'd you drive?
17. My 77 Camaro,
77 color.
red.
Red. All right. Ooh,
Yeah, it was a
okay.
nice car. I
Yeah.
liked
All
it.
right. So
Yeah.
listening to tunes, I would imagine a
Yeah,
time down there.
I had to replace I had an 8 track in it at that time, so I was only listening to the radio. I didn't have any 8 track playing tapes. So after I got in the Air Force, I changed it out at the base hobby shop. They had a really cool setup where they had like a garage, but you could go in there and work on your car by yourself. And so I installed a radio, put a cassette player in, some new
What?
speakers. Yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
So you had an 8 track, but no 8 track. You
And
had
no
an 8 track
tapes.
player, but no
No
8 track.
tapes. Yeah,
Yes. You had air conditioning?
it did.
Okay, there you
Yeah,
go. Otherwise, that's like you rolled your windows down.
I did though.
Go to New Mexico would have been
I
in
I never
Arizona.
was much for air conditioning. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the windows, so I would roll the windows down all
Oh,
the
look
time.
at you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoyed that.
Did you drive straight to it or did you stop?
Stopped in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Look at you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm surprised I was 17. They let me rent the motel room. I don't know how or why. Maybe because I showed my military ID, they let
Yeah.
me do it. Yeah, but yeah, it was, I think at that time it was like $19 or something like that. And here I am driving through from Dallas to Los Angeles. I don't have a cell phone. I maybe have $200 in my pocket, maybe. I got a bucket with some Pepsis and some chips or something, and that's what I lived on all the way to California.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you have a job before that?
Yeah, I had several jobs, but the two that stuck the most, I was a busboy at Denny's during high school, and I worked at Discount Tire during high school as well,
Would you do a discount?
changing tires and
Like,
yeah,
giving them a discount.
give them a discount.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No whistle. Just give them a discount. Still trying for
you
that
want
whistle.
that whistle?
I
Huh?
do want that whistle. I'll get there. Whistle. All right. So now you're in the Air Force. And I mean, you're already in the Air
Yep.
Force, but now you're here in California
Right.
base.
Mhm.
Now what?
Yeah, just starting with the duty assignment, right? I'm at the hospital working in the supply room, right? Learning about all of that. Eventually got moved up into what they called, it was stock records. So I kind of made sure the inventories were all right each week, that we had all the right supplies that we needed to operate the hospital and have the proper amount for war reserve and that kind of thing. There was all these levels you had to keep everything in. So it was an interesting assignment, a lot of fun. I enjoyed the living in Southern California. It was cool.
Yeah.
Back in the early 80s, mid 80s, it was lots to do. Had the beach, had the mountains. We would always, yeah, made some great friends there too. None again that we communicate with on a regular basis, unfortunately, but during that time had some really good friendships in
Right.
the military.
And did you guys have, not that I sometimes imagine it's just one big dorm, but did you guys have your own little small rooms each, or was it
Mhm.
just one big,
Nope.
like,
In basic training, it was the one big dorm, right? But that's normal, where you have 30 guys on each side or something like that. When I got to tech school, we had a dorm room that we shared with another guy, and then when I got to my duty station, the same thing. In March, we had a room and we'd share it with we'd have a roommate.
right? That's cool. All right. So now you're there. How long are you in the Air Force?
Just 4 years.
Just 4 years? That's a long time. That's
That
like
was,
going to college. Though.
and that's basically like
Basically going to.
the same
Did you
thing.
make any other new friends in the Air Force?
Yeah, we had a lot of great friends. And, oh, you're talking about my wife?
No, your wife.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going that direction.
Yeah.
Yes. Your
Yeah,
wife.
of course. Yeah, yeah. We met in the Air
So
Force.
tell me about how that happened.
Yeah, we were part of there was a a group called the Navigators. They were on, colleges and military bases. And we there were some people that were part of that. I met up with some of those guys, became, kind of involved in that. And she came to a meeting as well. She was invited by somebody, came to a meeting, and initially I thought she was coming from because we had some people from another base or something at that time. I thought she was coming from another base, and I was like, ah, nice girl, but I don't want that. I mean, the hassle of having to drive to another base to see somebody that that you have interest in. So I was like, nice girl, enjoyed the chats and all that, but didn't think anything more of it. And then I kept seeing her again, and then I would see. In fact, before I had seen her there, I had when I was driving to work every morning, going to the hospital. She worked in the building actually right next door to the hospital, and I'd see her walking down the road, going to work, and I'd say, "Oh, you she catches your eye as you're driving by, right? Oh, that's a cute girl, right?" And but never stopped to say, "Hey, you want to ride or anything?" I guess I'm a jerk. I don't know what it is, but would have been nice if I just stopped and said, "Would you like a
Probably would
ride?"
have been, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know it's raining, but I'm not going to stop and pick you up. It was Southern California. It
It,
wasn't raining.
it never,
It never rains in Southern
at least they
California.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might have been foggy, but
Yeah,
it never
foggy,
rained.
but who knows?
But
And
then
she might have got your new card
yeah, I
messed up.
can't get
And what if she didn't appreciate the cassette you had?
yeah. It did have a cassette player at that time because I put it in after I got to the base
There you
right
go.
away.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right. So you
Um,
kept passing her.
yeah, and then I saw her again at another meeting and we got to talking more and then I realized, oh, she's here at this base. And I was like, ah, okay. So, just started building the friendship more and getting to know her more. And
So navigators, though,
mhm.
not to interrupt you, but navigators, just for people that don't know, is not like an Air Force navigation kind of
No,
thing.
no, no.
Navigators is
Is a Christian
okay,
organization.
right,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the motto there was Navigator, Never Dater. So we had that against us.
navigator, never dater.
Never dater, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
that was always it. It's all the guys were yeah,
yeah.
we'd tease each other about
So
that.
you had no, I mean, why? No wonder you didn't give her a ride.
And yeah, I couldn't do
Not
it.
gonna
Wasn't
date her.
allowed,
Yeah,
right?
right,
But no, we yeah, just started to um, you know, the group mingle, and we was always within a group setting,
right,
right, and that
right.
kind of thing. And then when we went on a camping trip to, I guess I don't know if this is the most romantic place to really start to decide I really like this girl was Death Valley. So I don't know what that means. I'm not. There's no foreshadowing
Don't
going
judge
on
me.
here.
Don't
Yeah.
judge me. Yeah.
No, no.
Wow.
But yeah,
But it's right next to Divorce Town, which
yeah,
is
exactly. Yeah,
shows up
yeah,
the whole
yeah.
day. Yeah,
But Death Valley is beautiful. Actually, it
right.
was in January, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Beautiful area. Still 90 degrees in January,
Yeah,
hot, right?
right.
But yeah, just started to connect a little bit more while we were there. And then it wasn't long after that we really started, becoming more serious. And 7 months later, we were married. There you go.
Yeah.
Kind of like mom and dad.
Hey, doesn't fall apart with it.
Yeah.
Were you much of a I mean, like, awkward around girls growing up, or
I'm not a player or nothing like that.
right,
So I don't know if I was awkward, but I wasn't like
you're just
I wasn't out there
right,
like, yeah, look at me kind of
right.
thing. So yeah.
So you just said, "Hey, I'm sorry I passed you for
Yeah,
weeks."
yeah.
Yeah.
I know I drove by you a bunch of times and yeah,
Well,
it's
did she marry you just to get a ride from now on?
that might have been
Throwing that
part
out.
of it. Yeah. Hey, look, I need a ride to work.
If I
Start
got to do
walking.
this, I got to do this.
Yeah.
So where's your wife from?
She's from Ohio.
Ohio.
Southern Ohio,
Okay.
southeastern Ohio.
Okay. And so she's there, you're there,
Yep.
different towns, and you said, "I like this,"
Yeah, I
and
like
then
this
you
girl.
get married. And so
Yep.
are you when you get married? Are you still in the Air Force?
Yes, we
Okay.
are. We
All
still
right.
have we were married in 86, didn't get out of the Air Force until 88.
Okay. So
And
do they have married housing there at the Air Force?
on the base at our for our rank and everything, they did not. So we just got an apartment off the
So
base.
when you say rank,
Yeah. My I was at that time I was probably an E3.
E3,
Yeah, and she
and
was an E3, I think, as well.
E3.
Yeah.
Okay. That
Um,
what is it? I mean, is that like private,
yeah,
sergeant? What is that?
it was called a that one was a airman or a senior. We were either E3 or E4, airman, senior airman. It goes airman basic with no stripes, and then airman, airman first class, senior airman, and then buck sergeant. They had buck sergeant back then, and then sergeant, and then staff sergeant, and so on. I, I I got to senior airman was my highest rank as active duty, and then I did some reserve time. Got to staff sergeant, and that was it.
Okay, cool.
So.
And your wife?
She was also a senior airman, and then she went into the reserves after that, and she got to master sergeant, I think, in the
Oh,
reserves. Yeah, so she outranked me by a lot.
oh, so
Um,
did you salute? when you pass in the hallway or something?
Not as enlisted, we didn't have to salute an enlisted, but she
Okay.
did make me salute every night before bed. So.
Sir, am I getting bad
Yeah,
now?
please.
Sir,
I had to do like 20 push-ups or something.
it works out though.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're married, you're living on a base for a couple years.
Yep. We're just off the base, but
Just off the base.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're like right outside the base.
Okay. So Air Force, a career.
No, we after 4 years, we just decided that it was probably not the lifestyle we wanted for a
Right.
family.
Right.
I think we're both more rooted than that, and so I mean, where she grew up in her house, she was there. She grew up there her whole life on the same house on a 150-acre farm in Ohio, right?
Right.
So from very early until she left to go to the military, she was in that same home, and they had that same home for many years afterwards. Her mom and dad did. So.
Did you ever go overseas or anything, or was it just always in that
Yeah.
base?
Not as an active duty person, I didn't. Later, when I was employed by an entity um, that did things for the military, I
Right.
did go over to Afghanistan twice.
Oh, during any big stuff or just
Yeah, it was in 2011 and 2012, so they were pretty hot
yeah,
times
yeah, yeah,
over
yeah, yeah,
there
yeah.
at that time. Yeah.
And what was that like?
Yeah, that was fascinating. It was I marveled at what we did and how we did it.
Right.
As a as a country being there and the just the logistics and organization and how it all has to happen and
Right.
what goes on and it was pretty fascinating. I was in some amazing places downtown Kabul area. I was in Jalalabad. So it was some amazing
How different is that
experiences.
in Texas?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was there during the months of January. It was for the whole month of January twice, and it was 90s, not 90s to. It wasn't the 120, 130 like it gets in the summertime.
Right.
So I was spared that, but it was warm. Not hot, hot, but warm.
But you were married at this time?
Yeah, yeah. I was long after
And she
the Air
stayed here.
Force. She was here at home.
Did you
Yeah,
have
the
kids
kids.
at that time?
What's that?
Did you have kids at that
We
time?
did, yeah.
Oh,
They
okay.
yeah, and yeah, our oldest at that time was, gosh, in 2011, he was like in college,
Yeah.
I think at the time. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wow.
we're just graduating high school, one
Right.
of the two.
Right.
Yeah.
So where'd you live then?
We lived in Garland.
Okay.
Yeah, Texas, here in
All right.
Texas. Yeah, we came back to the Air Force. We came back to Texas. We
Texas.
bounced around a little bit. We after the military came back to Dallas for about a year or so. Went back to California for a job for about 5 years, and then to Orlando for about 5 years, and now back to Dallas for almost 30 years now.
Okay.
So,
So somewhere in here, now I know this, somewhere in here you were on a game show.
oh goodness, yeah, that was while we were in California.
Okay. I'm
Yeah,
listening. And what
yeah.
was the game show?
So it was Card Sharks.
Card Shark.
Card Sharks.
Yes. I
And
don't
so
remember that one.
Bob Eubanks. And so here's the crazy thing.
Bob Eubanks.
Bob Eubanks looks a lot like my dad. So,
Did he
and
give you the special?
I, well, I saw him and I was like, Dad, in my mind, right?
Yeah.
I was like, but it was a great experience. I only did it. Belinda had tried out we lived in LA, and so we're or just outside of LA, so we're there in that whole thing. We're like, let's give it a shot. She tried out for Wheel of Fortune, and wasn't chosen. And I said, well, let me go try for something, right? Why not? So I went and I tried out for Sharks, and they took me. And I was like, all right, I
When you
guess
say
I'm
you
in.
tried out, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
you have to go down and like do audition for
yeah.
it.
And then do you get a letter or they say, no, we want you right now?
Yeah, so what happened with this audition? I went down there, and then they said, so we're gonna go on a break uh, for like a month or two, and we'll call you. We'll call whoever we're interested in after that. And then 2 months later, I got a call or a letter. I forget what it was, call or letter,
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, we want you to come down." And I'm like, "All right."
So what
So
was that like?
it was cool to be on TV and all of that, right?
Mhm.
And to play the game. It was a good, did well. The lady I played against went on to win like $40,000, but she won the first game, I won the second game, and then we went into a sudden death, and she won the sudden death. And yeah, and I got parting gifts, some kind of vacuum, some chocolate morsels, some Kentucky Fried Chicken coupons or something.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and $100, right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
But you probably had to pay tax on it.
I did.
By the
Yeah.
time you got done, it was like
Yeah.
$13.20, something like that. Yeah. All right. So what was your first job when you're married? After you're married.
So
After
after
the
the
Air
Air
Force,
Force,
yes,
yeah,
sorry.
after the Air Force, my first job, when we got back to Dallas, living with my parents because we didn't have anything yet. We moved back to Dallas, and I think I was probably delivering pizzas for Domino's. I needed to do something. I never went without working. It was one of my things. I was always like, I'm um I'm not gonna just look for a job. I'm gonna have a job doing something and then find a job that I like better, while I'm doing that. But I had to have some kind of income stream. So did that. I bounced around a lot of different things trying to find my way in Dallas.
Right.
And then ended up connecting with somebody that we knew in the Air Force that had started a business back in California. And so I took a position with them back in California, and that's what I was there for 5 years. And then that same company, I moved to Orlando, and we were there for I was with that doing work for them for another 4 or 5 years.
Okay. So, do you have any favorite stories about like early marriage? Any early marriage stories? I mean, everybody has that one. We moved into an apartment that had one
Yeah,
square 4x4, but we loved it. That kind of
yeah.
stuff. You guys have favorite stories?
We look back often at when we first got married. We had nothing, right? We had a folding table and couple of chairs.
Yeah.
We had a 13-inch TV. Then this is back in the tube style like
Yeah.
TVs, right? Not the fancy ones of
They were
today.
heavy.
And it sat on a 3-inch binder in the corner of the room, so it would be tilted up so we could see it. And we had I think we had a water bed too at the time.
Oh,
Didn't everybody have a
oh,
water bed
yeah,
in the
you did.
80s, right?
Are
Yeah.
we there?
Yeah, yeah. And fortunately, it was heated water. We did have the heater go out one time. That's not good.
Oh
That
no.
water gets cold.
No, yeah. That's so.
Yeah. So those days were fun, enjoyable. Looking back when you had nothing, but it didn't matter, right? And just hanging out together and enjoying, company with us and our friends that we
Right.
had, because we had 2 years of all those people that we had already known in the Air Force were now, friends, and they'd come over to the apartment, or we'd go hang out with them and just doing and being in Southern California every weekend, we'd go to the beach or go to the mountains or something, right? So those were definitely fun times. One of the like she likes to bring it up a lot, but we were at a gathering retreat or something somewhere, and we had a small cabin we were in, and I don't know how this thing was set up, but I had rolled over into something, didn't know where I was. I woke up and I'm just like, she laughs at it, like, because I wake up and I don't know what's going on. I'm like, where am I, kind of thing. And so her, just big thing of that. It's a continuous story of, like, when I wake up, she's like, where am I? Right? Kind of like, what's going on? So, because I had no clue where I
Right.
was or what was going on or how we ended up in that part of the room where I was. So,
And
yeah.
who are you again?
And who are you? And why are you next to me? Yeah. Yeah. So,
Where's my $100 gift certificate?
yeah.
I just want at my KFC. Yeah.
My KFC chicken, yeah.
Yeah.
They gave us a lot of coupons. We treated a lot of friends to
There
KFC
we
at that
go.
time. We did. We'd
Yes,
go
you
to
did.
lunch and let's go to KFC.
Yeah.
Why you guys want to go? Because it's free, man.
So leave me alone. I'm
Yeah,
buying. Quiet.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So what are some thoughts you have for people that are now love and marriage?
Yeah. Um, so youngest son just got married, just over a month ago, and um, there's so many facets to that dynamic of two people coming together that you know first you look at how did that happen, right? She's from Ohio, I'm from Chicago, came to Texas, ended up in California. She ended up in California, right? How did all that happen, right? And then how do you take, yeah, who you are and mix it with who they are and try to have this, some kind of harmony, reasonableness around how everything gets done, right? And that we had our, obviously, like every couple, our moments of struggles where things I would do just bug the heck out of her, and things she would do, I'd be like, who does that, right? What in the world, right? But that's who you are, and having the ability to allow each other to be who they are, and it's okay that you don't do it like I do, and it's okay if I do weird stuff that makes you kind of cringe,
Right.
but whatever. That's just
And
I
how'd you work it out?
um
How'd you work those things out?
yeah. I think we had some good advice early on, and what always kept us grounded was, if we're not both always pointing towards God, then it would be very difficult for us to be, just keeping that harmony with each other, right? If one of us is going off in a different direction, it makes um, you don't have that same desire or focus together. So a lot of that, a lot of just learning to appreciate who the other person is, and we're still doing it. So it's not over, right? Even today, when I say today, nowadays, we're still like having to accept that part of that person, that's who they are and how they are, and
Mhm.
and the different things that make each of us tick.
What would you give your advice so to your son that just got
Yeah,
married? Anybody else that would?
yeah.
I mean, you've been married 39 years.
39
That's
going on
quite an
40
achievement.
years. Yeah.
That they do go in order like
They
that.
do. 30, and last year was 38 years,
What?
which, just let me give another bad story about myself. I on our 38th anniversary, I said, being a nice husband and all, got a card, happy 36th anniversary. And
Oh,
oh yeah. And so her first words were, are you recycling uh cards? I'm like, what do you mean?
why not?
Yeah. And she's like, it's 38, not 36. I was like, oh, my math was bad. Sorry.
You knew that when you married me, baby.
Yeah, yeah. You knew what you were getting when you got me.
I'm not a math guy.
So yeah, that was I don't think I'm still living it down, but
Yeah,
yeah, she was sure to point that one
right.
out for me. But it's
So, what would
again,
be that advice?
allowing the other person to be who they are,
Right.
and you appreciating that about them, and not totally losing yourself in that as well, right?
Mhm.
But then changing to changing some things about yourself that help that other person to be better, or help you to be better in that relationship, right? I've had to learn, and again still learning it, better ways to talk and respond, and just the other day, I thought I had done it right, and I thought it was being one way, and it was taken a wrong way,
Right.
right? And so accept that those things are going to happen, work through them, figure them out. Don't let anger get in the way. We can easily get angry at each other, and then put up the walls and not speak for several days or weeks or months or
Right.
whatever those
Yeah.
things are, right? So don't let that stuff happen. So
Thanks. Good stuff. That's good. So eventually, though, in this marriage, you had children.
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your first child comes along.
Yeah.
And were you younger then? I mean, I know
I was
younger.
younger than I am now with my
Okay.
first child.
All
Yeah.
right. Keep it up. No whistle.
No whistle.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And so, you have your child, but were you a very young couple?
Yeah.
Like in your first couple of years of marriage, you have a child,
Yeah.
or
When we left the Air Force, we had found out she was pregnant as we were getting out. Um, and the Air Force was kind enough to allow us to have our first child, even though we weren't in the military. If we were to go to a military base and have our baby, they would let us do that, since she was pregnant prior to us leaving.
oh, nice.
And so our oldest son was born at what at that time was called Carswell Air Force Base in Fort Worth.
Okay.
It's now Joint Base something. There's like multiple services that operate out of the space. I'm not familiar with its full name right now. It's out in the Fort Worth area. We lived here in Garland, so it was an hour and a half drive to that hospital, and her appointments and all of that. So we really have to schedule those things out. Here we are, young, one car, had to figure all this. I'm trying to, find work and all of that as well. So a lot of balancing things out. Mom and dad helped a bit. Mom would take her to her appointments sometimes if they had availability and all of that. So it was a fun first couple years after the Air Force, and a baby coming, and
Boy.
boy, our
Okay.
oldest, excuse me, our oldest is son. In
Okay.
fact, we had
All
three
you.
boys. We had all boys, and when he was born, I had just started with kind of following in some of dad's footsteps, I guess. There was working at UPS's in package delivery. I just started in a seasonal position. He was born in November. Seasonal stuff started in September, right? Is when I was hired on. And I'm like driving that day, delivering, and I was talking with the guy that was training me, and I was like, "Yeah, my wife's in labor right now." He's like, "What? What are you doing here?" I was like, "I gotta work. I'm just starting. I need to feed this family that's coming, right?" And he goes, "Let's get you out of here." He was a good guy, and he helped me get done real quick that day. He's like, "Go, get out of here." So I drove. After that, I worked all day, drove all the way out to Fort Worth because she was at the hospital at the base.
Okay.
Drove all the way out there. 30 something hours later, she finally delivered. And then I drove all the way back. Like I still hadn't slept. I don't know, it's 40 something hours, I think. I hadn't slept, drove all the way back to Dallas, worked, got some sleep, worked the next day, and then finished up that day, drove all the way back out, to go see her again. And then he was in the hospital a little longer. He had jaundice, so it was no big deal, right? But and they allowed her to stay because we were so far away. So she stayed with him in the hospital the whole time for an extra, I don't know, like 4 days, maybe a week, um, maybe. And then finally got her home. And then
Did you ever get to sleep?
I didn't sleep. This is probably one of those things looking back. I wish I hadn't worried about working so much and had spent more time being there helping that. But at the same time, we were so broke.
Yeah.
So it was like I always wanted to provide for my family, right?
Right.
I didn't
Right.
want them to go without, and so I was working crazy hours doing multiple things. There was, in fact, as when we were in Orlando through it with our second child, there were times that I was working 3 jobs at a time. I'd sleep 2 hours in between jobs, just trying to make ends meet there as well. It was tough.
How'd we get to Orlando?
Yeah. So our oldest son was born, obviously, in Dallas. Year later or so, we moved back to California, and then with that company, with the person that we knew that started that business in California, that business transferred me to Orlando to open up an office there for them. So I did that, and our middle son was born in Orlando, and he was born at home, which was really kind of cool. We had a friend that was a physician and told us about how all this works, and his wife and another wife was there helping along, and it was a great experience and a great time. I was able to deliver him at our house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How long did you guys live in Orlando?
Lived in Orlando for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How different was that than anywhere else you went?
Yeah, I loved Orlando. That was like living in it, it was like a paradise to me. Always green, always, just it seemed always fresh and clean. It would rain every day and wash everything clean, right? And just something about Orlando just really appealed to me. I enjoyed it a lot.
The humidity?
Humidity was rough.
Okay.
Melinda, my wife, hated the humidity.
Right.
She I think at that point she was like, I'm not even gonna put makeup on or anything because it just runs off, right? It's just ridiculous to even think about it,
But
right?
you weren't
So
wearing it either.
so it was even,
Yeah,
right?
you gave up.
I gave up makeup,
Yeah.
so
And
yeah,
she said, "Hey, I might as well as
me
well."
too. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So 5 years in Orlando,
5 years in Orlando, that's where our middle son was born.
and then where'd you go from Orlando?
Orlando back to Dallas,
Okay.
and that was it. And it was like 97, I think it was, when we moved back to Dallas.
Okay.
Moved in with mom and dad, helped us, just get resituated into the Dallas area. We were there for a few years, saved enough money, bought a house, lived in the Garland area for 13 years,
Yeah.
sold that house, and then moved into where we are now been there for 14 years now, or going on 14 years. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
What
or
was
no,
it?
I'm sorry, going on 12 years. I apologize.
Did you learn anything from your mom and dad about raising parents that you used yourself?
About raising kids.
Yeah.
I mean, um, so I, I think what I took from my parents was being involved with your kids and doing they were involved with us in the things that we did, or at least with me. My brother and sister may have a different experience than
Right.
me, but with me, involved in the things I did, took part in what I did, interested, communicated with me regularly about things. I remember in the Air Force, that's back in letter writing days. I'd write a letter home, every week, and they'd write back and send packages and that kind of thing, right? So just being involved with them and wanting to do just giving them opportunities, wanting them to experience things, being a part of things, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's something you wish you hope your kids learn from you.
Yeah, I hope they do it better. I've always told my boys, I know I'm done a lot of things that weren't great, right? As a dad, we all do. There's things I've done well, things that I haven't done well. And I've always asked them to like take the things that I did well and do them better. The things that I didn't do well, change them, improve upon it, do something
Right.
different, right? If
Right.
if it didn't work for you and I, I'm sorry if that I, may have caused grief to you in some way. I
Right.
never an intention of mine, but be better than I was in
Right.
those things, right?
And
So
that part of it, being a dad.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
want you to be better than me, not because I love you.
yeah,
And I hope you learned the best you could from me, but also not everything from me.
yeah.
That kind of stuff's good.
Yeah, I always had, I look back now, and that's a nice part about being my age and having a good chance to look back at things. Um, I was probably pretty intense and high expectations and tough on them, but it was only because I wanted the best for them, right? It wasn't that I was, you know, angry with them about anything. It was just like I know just the value that they have and the things that they can do, and just wanting to pull that out of each of them, right?
Right.
And have it just be amazing,
Right.
their life to be as amazing as possible.
And then you have grandchildren.
6 of those little things, yes.
Yeah, they're running around, but they're not all so little though.
No, there's 2 sets of twins in there. There are 11.
2 sets of twins.
Yeah, first one's identical boys, and then there's a girl that came along, and then there's a boy and a girl twin set, and then a boy that came along. And
Oh,
this is all
wow.
from my oldest son and his wife. Yes,
Wait, your oldest son has 6
6 kids,
kids.
all to themselves. Yes, yes. My middle son is not married. My youngest is married, and they don't have any children yet. Yes.
6 kids.
6 grandbabies.
I don't know why I make
Six-
that like a big. That's a lot.
6
To me.
wonderful grandbabies. It is a lot.
Yeah.
We recently had them for about 10 days, and that was a lot.
Right.
We loved them, but man, that's tiring, and
Yeah.
this old body, it can't keep up with all
What kind
that.
of granddad are you?
So I love to play games with them and have fun, and want to do things that are important to them. I'm also probably, I don't know. I don't want to be too strict, but I might be too strict to follow. Like, bedtime is this, rules are this. Got to brush your teeth, got to do that, right? Those kinds of things.
Right.
But because mom and dad are like, hey, we want to make sure that we're this is what we're trying to work in their lives right now. Can you help us when they're with you?
Right.
And so following that, not just being the grandpa that says, yeah, here you can have a bowl of ice cream for breakfast, which would be cool too,
Right.
But we broke a this isn't being recorded, is it? So
No.
okay, we did break a few rules while their mom and dad were gone, and we had them for 10 days. We did give them more things that they normally wouldn't have at home. So every night after dinner we'd have ice cream, and they get to pick. I told them, tell me the ice creams you want. And they only wanted chocolate or vanilla, so that's what I got. And then some wanted sprinkles and some didn't. So we'd do sprinkles and
So
not sprinkles.
they make celery sticks with chocolate and vanilla.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it sure did work. I know this isn't being recorded.
Yeah, right.
Yes, we had celery sticks.
Yeah, celery sticks.
Yes, that's it. So you have a relationship with your grandfather, or
Yeah, that was the one. I'm gonna answer this question kind of backwards. My dad was a great example of a grandfather in my eyes to my kids. I loved the things that he did with my boys, and always wanted to be a part of their lives, what they're doing. Taught all 3 of them how to drive. Since he was a driver, he drove the bus in Chicago, then he drove for UPS, and then he drove. When we moved to Dallas, he drove for Dallas Transit for 40 years. Logged over, I don't know, 1.2 million miles or something like that in the city of Dallas. And
that's God's work there.
I tell you what, right? And
Yeah.
I had an amazing driving record. And he taught all of my boys how to drive. I wanted to do it, but I was like, this is just an opportunity to get off it. Right. To have your grandpa who was a professional driver, right? Like that. And he taught them some amazing things that I probably would have glossed over, and helped them all to really, and it was a special time for them to be able to just hang together and learn together, and do the coursework and then the driving work and all of that together. So I really appreciated that they all 3 got that opportunity with him. So.
But your grandfather would.
My grandfather's, my mom's dad, when I was young, my mom's mom and dad got divorced. And he wasn't a part of my life until we moved to Dallas. And he came back into our lives, and I got a chance to have, Pops was what we called it. And I'm sorry, not Pops, Gramps. It was Gramps. And he, I had him for only a couple of years in my life, but he really tried, and I appreciated having him around. Because I didn't have a grandpa. My dad's dad was, he passed when I was very young. And I just never had that grandfather figure at all. And so that's why I wanted to back into it with watching my dad. That's the model I'm trying to follow. And like I said, doing better the things that he did good, and just and changing the things that he didn't maybe do good, right? And then but having Gramps, my mom's dad, in my life for those couple of years was he would he lived with us, and he would do bets with me on football games for $10, and he'd always choose the team that was going to lose so that I would win the $10, so I'd have gas money, right? That kind of thing, right? And just always he's like, I'm going to take these guys because and I'm like, you want them? He goes, yeah, I think they're going to do it this week. I was like, all right, $10 it is. And I'd always get the money and then I could put gas in my car. Right. So, and then if I'd lose, he goes, yeah, just pay me next week. We'll just bet again on it. He'd never take my money and he'd always give me the $10. Right. So, yeah. Yeah. And I kind of wasn't catching on when I was that age, but now I know what it was all about. Right.
That's
And,
awesome.
and so, I appreciated just having him around. He was good to hang with, good to talk to. Even though there was the issue in the family, it turned out to be really good for me in the end. So,
Nice. So your current job, what do you
yeah,
do?
work for a tax and accounting firm in their tech consulting division, in operations management for some groups.
Oh
So,
wow, where are they based out of?
the company's based out of Fargo, North Dakota, and none of my team are really based anywhere. Everybody works remotely. I do as
Well, I would
well.
think Fargo, you'd want to work
Yeah,
remotely,
yeah.
but
That's an interesting place though. It's different,
yeah,
for sure. I've never seen anywhere so flat
it's
in my
colder than
life.
Chicago.
Yeah,
Just
it
throwing that out
it
there.
it is,
Yeah.
it is. They do have a billboard out there. I flew in there, once, and there's a billboard there that says our mountain removal, um, I forget what, like, our effort or whatever is now concluded, right? Because there is no terrain in all of yeah, we've completed our mountain removal, effort or whatever. Like that was I'm like, that's pretty funny because you look around and everything's in a north, south, east, west grid, and it's flat.
I've heard somebody said that in North Dakota, you can see your dog running away for weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
You still run, and
Exactly,
you
yeah.
don't see him. Yeah,
It was interesting though. It was a cool place to visit.
right.
Yeah, for work, yeah.
Nice. So again, what do you?
Yeah.
It's a task, but what do you do?
Yeah, I lead, a couple of different groups. One is an integrations team, and another is a Microsoft development team, and they, about 20, I don't know, 22 people maybe, total, and just, help out yeah, just help out operationally to keep us in line, to keep, projects moving, to keep leaders focused, trained, make sure that we have all the billable hours we can, helping out with sales as much as possible. Weak spot for me, sales. Fortunately, I have some guys on my team that are really good at that. I'm not a great sales guy, but operationally, I like to there's gains you can make operationally, and there's gains you obviously make sales, right?
Right,
So I try to optimize as much operationally as I can.
right.
So,
And how many? So you have 22, but how many?
oh gosh, there's several thousand in the company because it is a tax and accounting and audit firm,
Right.
and then the tech consulting side has, I don't know, 300, four
Oh wow.
hundred,
Okay.
something like that.
So how'd you get in this? What did you do before to get into this job?
I got into IT work back in the late 90s,
Oh,
as
wow.
a AS400 operator is what I started as. I did that for a few years, and then got into EDI, electronic data interchange.
Thank you for explaining
Yep,
that.
did that for 10 years. Then got into management of EDI groups, management of other technical groups, in a couple of different companies, and then landed in this one. So,
Wow. So you're like smart?
nope, not at
Nope,
all.
not at all.
I am not. No, I'm the
See, smart
least.
people would say that though.
I am the least. I have taken the definite hard knocks road to where I'm at. Yeah. I did not grow up with a computer in my hand, knew nothing about them.
Numbers are tough.
Took some people, yes, 36, 38 years.
Yeah, I
How
was
many?
going to
I
bring
don't know
that
how
up
often
again.
I've been married, how long I've been married, right? Yeah.
So, but you like it?
I do. I found out just when I got into it, I was like, I never really had an interest in technology or computers, um, growing up, or even after they became a little more mainstream. But once I got into it, I was like, I really kind of like this, and I enjoyed the work. EDI, I enjoyed a lot. It was it resonated with the way my mind works, and so I really latched onto that, and from there is just something I enjoy and something that I became good at. And then, I was able to make a living for my family too. So it all worked. Yeah.
How has life been good for you?
In a variety of ways. Been good people and good friends around me. I've got amazing, my kids. People will ask me, how were they growing up? I was like, they never gave me grief at all. My boys growing up, yeah. I mean, we have our moments. They're boys, and things happen, and we deal with it. But they, I have to really just give them kudos because they did a great job of being good good men throughout their, growing up, right? They always tried to do the right, not always did the right thing. That's okay. We worked through that, but they're always just been very good, respectable people to both my wife and I. Yeah, yeah, they've been good. And then my grandbabies are the same. They're just they're joys. We again we have our moments and everybody has their meltdowns or whatever, but they're really great kids.
Right.
Just enjoyable.
Life is
It is, and good friends. This stage of life. I was reflecting on this the other day, how I had really good friends in grade school and junior high. Same group. We were inseparable, right? And then after that, after I moved to Dallas, I really didn't have any friends until I got into the Air Force. Then I had some really tight friends, and then that ended, and when we moved to Orlando, had grew a really tight group of friends, and then that ended, came to Dallas, and um, and and didn't have a probably didn't have a bunch, mostly work friends. And then now though, this latter stage of life, just the group of people that I currently have as friends and do things with has just been a joy to have as part of my life. Right. And it's just interesting to me how all those different pockets have happened uh, during those times. So it wasn't. I don't have any friends that I do have a friend now that has friends from when they were in grade school and still hangs out and does things with them, right? I don't have any of that. And in fact, I don't have friends from 10 years ago that I do anything with,
right.
right? It's kind of this new pocket of friends now, and it's
Right.
really enjoyable.
That's cool.
So
Is there a significant turning point in your life that's changed or significant? Let me try that again. Is there a significant turning point that changed your personal life?
I think probably um getting to a point in my career where um I stopped worrying about climbing the ladder kind of thing. I think that it was just like, this is where I'm at. I'm very happy with what I'm doing and where I'm at, and not trying for that next thing and that next thing and that next thing. And not, I don't want if anybody that I'm ever employed with hears this, it's not that I'm not trying now. It's just that I am very pleased and happy with where I am in life, what it brings to me, and what it allows me to do in my life at the same time. Um, I think that was a turning point. I think um, after our third child, finally realizing I think I was a dad at that point, right? I'd worked so much and done, been so engaged in all of that and trying that I was missing out on some of that maybe. And then after, third one comes along, realizing, I'm a dad now, and then one's going off to college, and then next thing you know, he's getting married, right? And all of that. So just I think that eye-opening time of like, this is this is the important stuff now.
Right.
So
What's one? I mean, like, if your grandkids see this 20 years from now, what's one of your biggest regrets in your life?
and, and I wish I'd had a better relationship with my siblings. It's not that my sister and I don't have a bad relationship. We just don't hang out together, right? And then my brother, because of the age gap, we didn't connect much. But um, I'm sad to have lost him. He passed, like I said, just a few years ago, and I'm sad to have lost him and not had a good relationship with him. So for my kids and my grandkids to build those relationships with your siblings, with your, brothers and sisters, and to appreciate those. And because those are kind of the ones that um, you know, that are the standing ones and that should always be there, right? They're the ones that when you need something, they're the people you go to is your family, right? And or they should be. And that's the I want them to have that ability to say, the family is important to me and the things that matter to you, I want to matter to me as my family. So having I think that my biggest regret is not having that a stronger relationship there with them. So
Dude,
yeah. Probably, my want to see some, so I don't want to reveal anything for our
you
anniversary.
don't know this stuff. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but would like there's some things that we'd like to do and see as a couple. So those things are on our bucket list to do and see it. I'd like to accomplish that. Our 40th anniversary is coming up, so maybe some of those things. Um,
Shit.
so I've been told. I'm gonna accept what my wife told me is coming up next year as fact.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, but um, what else would be on my bucket list? I'd like to get my I have a 70 Chevy truck, and I'd like to get it um, a new motor, transmission, rear end. Just I love that it looks old school on the outside,
Right.
but I'd like something good and modern, and always reliable. It's been a great truck. Starting to give me some frustrations now, though.
Right.
And I don't want to call them frustrations. I'm not able to drive it like I would like to,
Right.
and I would love to be able to drive that truck every day, just a little bit around town. I love it. I step back in time when I get in it.
Right.
It's just a lot of fun. So
What happened to the Camaro?
oh my goodness, my first Camaro got
Yeah.
stolen.
Ah,
Yeah, when I was so it's really fun story about this. My first year in the military,
fun story
it
about this.
is.
Okay.
I went home for Christmas and New Year's. My first year at March Air when I was in California, I got my first duty station, and so while I was at home, I was like, you know what? My car needed a paint job, and I was like, it'd be cool. Let me get it while I'm gone. It can get painted. Then when I come back, I'll just pick it up, and I won't be without a car while I'm at the base,
Right.
right? And so I get a call New Year's morning from the paint company. Is like, hey, we had a break in, and I'm sorry to tell you, your car is one of the ones that was stolen. I'm like, oh darn, okay. So, long story short, the cops were finally chasing this person a month later, and he wrecked it into a telephone pole and destroyed it. Yeah.
Wow.
So the paint looked good on it. It looked nice.
A wrapped around
Yeah,
it. Oh,
but
yeah,
it
that's
was
great.
wrapped around the pole.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Hey, I
yeah.
noticed that was a good
It
color.
was a great
Yeah.
car, and that was a good life lesson for me. It was just like it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's nothing more than a car. I appreciated having it. I enjoyed it. I was sorry that it was gone, but it can be replaced. It's okay.
Right.
So
Right. So, what do you still want to accomplish in your life?
yeah, um, I look in the mirror every day and wonder that as I'm approaching 60 now, there's retirement is a thought in my mind coming up. I don't know that I'm fully ready for it yet in a variety of ways, but I feel that my body is starting to give me the hints that you're not getting younger.
Right.
And that's a wake up call for me because I always tried to be very fit and active, but it's not the same. So I I would like to get to a place where we don't have any real financial worries. That I don't have to be stinking rich, but I don't. I want it for my wife and I to be able to not have to work or not have to work a lot. Maybe do some volunteer work, maybe some part time something, just work at a golf course so I could golf for free or something like
There you
that.
go.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool, right?
Yeah.
I'll wash the carts for half a day. I
There
don't
you go.
care.
Yeah.
So I don't care what kind of work I do either. It doesn't matter to
Right.
me anymore like that. But um, something like that, and we get to a place where we can go if we want to go, we can stay if we want to stay, we can do what we want to do. And what our doing is not having a private jet. Our doing is get in the car and go have dinner. That's okay. Or go on a weekend vacation somewhere, right? That kind of thing. Yeah. So we're not needing to live an elaborate lifestyle, but just kind of an easy,
Right.
free, available for our grandbabies to do things with them.
Right.
Those are the ambitions and goals I think for me
Sounds good.
at this point.
Though
Yeah.
I do know this about you, though, that like if you're passionate about something, give a good effort into it. Like you recently took up golf, right?
Did
And when you
2 years
first
ago. Yeah,
2 years ago, and when you first started playing, you were
I was awful.
you, would you say awful?
I was awful. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't want to go on the course with me.
But
I didn't want to play the round that I was in. Yeah.
or
Yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah,
but you worked at it.
yeah.
And you've gotten better and better
I've
and better
tried.
at it. Yeah, you
Yeah,
tried. You're
I've
humble
tried.
about it, but yes, you've
It's
gotten
uh,
better, quite better.
it's
Yeah,
been an adventure, but
your
it's
your
been.
group of guys you played with, you were probably the sixth one, and now you are probably ranked number one, I would think, of
I
the
don't,
six guys.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I do know
But
that.
it's yeah. I do when I get into something, I want to be committed to it, right? And I want to do it my best. I don't. Especially with I really enjoy the golf, right? And there was a time too. I was very slight, and I still am slight, but I was 145 pounds, 45 years old or whatever, weakling, and I was like, I got to do something about this. And so I had somebody train me in powerlifting, got into powerlifting, got up to 175 pounds, gained, just a lot of more muscle mass,
Right,
was able to lift 340 pounds in a deadlift, right? Which I couldn't lift 150 pounds when I first started,
right.
right?
Wow.
And so, and just squatting heavy weight and bench pressing wasn't great. I had a shoulder that was a little weak, so that would be a problem for me. But
Right.
it still just the just once I got into it, I was like, I have a goal. I want to accomplish this. I want to get stronger. I want to get bigger. I want to feel healthier and more fit. Right. So I did that.
And as you're older, that would hurt a lot.
That would hurt a lot now. Yeah. I need
But
to
you played? Did you play anything between weightlifting? Did you play other sports like?
soccer. Played 12 years in a men's league, and that got brutal on the body and started having injuries that wouldn't heal. And so that's what made me go to golf. I was like, I couldn't do the soccer anymore. And like I said, I would get hurt, and what used to take a week to heal was now taking a month to heal. So I get hurt again. So now I got two things that are trying to heal, and it just would not go away, and I just couldn't do it anymore.
Constant running.
And constant running,
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't mind. I hate running just to run, but
Right.
in a sport, I don't mind running. So
But you don't run a lot in golf, do
you
you?
don't run a lot in
And
golf,
that's
yes.
the great thing about the game.
Get in that cart and drive.
Right. Saying
It's
four,
nice.
get
Yes.
a payday bar,
Yeah,
Coke
payday,
Zero,
right.
off we go. Play that good. All right. So you've had sounds like a terrific life, and you in your head has always been. I mean, you're an amazing man. At the end, like we always talk about in this the dash part, what would you like the epitaph to be on your grave?
You know, I'm not. I should probably write this out so that it gets put on there. Because I haven't thought about that, and I need to probably dig deeper and think. But something about you gave all that you could, right? Maybe didn't accomplish all, but you gave all. You respected others. I appreciate and don't ever want to bring harm to other people in any way. I want to be friendly and courteous, right? I want to go back to another regret. I don't know that I'm always as good a friend as other people are a friend to me. Does that make sense? And it's something I battled with a lot in my life. Just being as good a friend as I think they're being to me, right? So that's a regret. And so being a good friend, I think, would be something I'd want written there as well. So giving my all.
That's a big gravestone, by the way.
Yeah.
To have all that written
So-
on the epitaph. So
Yeah,
he gave.
I'm going to stand out in the cemetery. I just want you to know.
He gave all he could for the things he loved.
Yeah.
To be a good friend, a good father, a great husband, and a great grandfather.
Better ask my wife about that.
Well, yeah. If she can remember the date,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Father, you're a great man, Bob, and I really appreciate you being here on the show and to share your wisdom and everything you have with us, and that's great. I like that. I really appreciate all your subscribers that are out there that subscribe. If you haven't yet, please like this episode, subscribe, comment, tell other people about us. We can still grow. If you get a chance to visit us on our website at www, I don't know why I said that part, but my-story.com to see all our episodes and upcoming episodes. And until we meet you next time, really appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
Well, thanks.
Appreciate it.